So,
There's just tonight. I did not think there were people. Oh, Nico.
all right.
See you.
Welcome back,
Lauren,
Nico.
yours is starting to get paced.
How was camp?
It was good.
Yeah.
I have faith.
It's
Yeah.
5 o'clock mark.
You're the smartest kid in town, huh?
Clean sweep, and it's through the,
Welcome back, Nico.
Hi, Nico.
Camp, fun.
He's back.
Yeah. Oh, pleasure meeting you, by the way.
Mark, you're live.
Awesome.
Nico.
Okay, we'll start off this park board of the Village of Oregon Park Board. So it is August 18th, and we will move on to the agenda. So first of all, if we can call it to order, and we'll do a roll call.
Frisch, I see, is absent. Lees,
Here.
Herneman,
Present.
Rosner,
Here.
Ruati,
Here.
Knutson,
Here.
and Miller.
Present.
All right.
So we did not have a meeting on July, so the meeting minutes that we do have are from June of 2026, June 9th. So those are in the packet. If we could have any comments or any corrections on it, otherwise call for approval. Matt, you got for motion to it?
Yep.
Second?
I'll second.
Andy seconds. Any other discussion in regards to the June 9th meeting minutes? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. What we're going to do is, we are going to move one section up, but the next section will be public appearances. Just for reference, what we'll do is, due to some timing and logistics within the staff, I'd like to move the CIP portion of the meeting up after the public appearance, okay? So I do know we have some community input, so one of which, Dan, if you could come on forward. Dan has reached out to us and was asked to get on the agenda, didn't work out, and we had a slip up in communication. So Dan, if you could just state your name and your address, that would be appreciated.
Daniel Schumann, 240 Bethel Court, Oregon, Wisconsin. Have lived in Oregon since 1986.
Awesome, well, thank you for your time here. Can you tell us a little bit about what you have for us?
I have a document here, if you don't mind if I read it.
Okay, that'd be
Okay.
fine.
I wrote a letter to the editor, perhaps some of you may have read it. I'm concerned about the overnight closure of Lerner Park and its unintentional impact on public safety. For years, I've started my day with a bicycle ride before going to the gym, or a walk in colder winter conditions, I should say. Because I ride before dawn, my bike is equipped with multiple flashing lights front and rear, and also on my helmet, I'm very, very visible. Recently, it was last month at Lerner Park, about 3:30 a.m., I was on the road that was, or the bike path that was parallel to Netherwood, coming into the city. An Oregon police officer stopped, did a U-turn, pulled up, and then pulled onto the path with its lights going, and informed me that I was riding in the park when it was closed. I questioned this for a couple of points, and I said, where should I be riding? And the feedback, well, not here, but on the road. So at 3:30 in the morning, and I was told, by the way, it was closed from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. And when I asked where the cyclists should be riding, I was told to use like the roads. And I'm concerned about this. Several issues at all. And I was also told this ordinance is 12 years old. I can kind of agree with that. That was the rough number. And having my dogs, when I first bought them, they've deceased recently, but they were 12 when they were obviously puppies when we got them. And yeah, I have been walking that path or bicycling that path before 5 a.m. for the past 12 years with no problems. Now, some of the concerns I have is, number one, there are no signs along the bicycle path indicating it's closed overnight. How do you know about the restricted hours now? You want us to drive 25 miles an hour in certain areas, you post what the speed limit is. You don't want us to park somewhere, you post no parking. If you want people in the park, you put a sign up and say it's closed during certain hours. extensively over the past 12 years. I won't even begin to guess how many miles I've done on that bicycle path. I have experienced police officers on more than one occasion parked in the parking lot off of Netherwood. No police officer up to last month has ever said a thing to me about this. I've been allowed to ride on it. I've been allowed to walk on it and walk my dogs, anything like that. Okay. I have also, since learning about this ordinance, I have been riding back into town on Netherwood. And then before 5 a.m., I've observed vehicles in the Lerner Park parking lot with people on the path, and I've seen no police interaction or intervention or any kind. So I mean, why would, me at 3:30 in the morning bicycling on a path? And more importantly, directing cyclists onto a roadway instead of a designated bike path undermines public safety. Bicycle paths exist to separate cyclists from motor vehicle traffic. Closing the path forces cyclists, me, onto a more hazardous environment and increases the risk of collisions. Now, there's some estimating going on. I was estimating about how long I've been walking my dogs on the path, and 12 years, I think, is about the best estimate I can come up with. It's an honest estimate, but an estimate nevertheless. Approximately 8 to 10 years ago, I was bicycling approximately 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, and now the vehicle did not hit me, but I don't even know who was driving. I was pushed off the road by a car that was, I heard gravel. I ended up hitting a pile of rocks in a ditch and ended up in the UW emergency room. So I don't want to do that again. Since I've been no longer on the bicycle path, I've had one instance where I had almost no room on the side of the road to be able to go as the car came up behind me. I did not get the 3 feet that you're supposed to get. I mean, sometimes, many times, especially in the mornings when there's no other traffic, they give me almost the whole lane. This, I had almost nothing. And I can't believe, if you wish, I could bring my bicycle up here. I could show you the lights I have on my bike and my helmet and everything else. I am well illuminated. You're not going to miss me. Quite frankly, the only motor vehicle I've ever encountered on the bicycle path was the police officer, which I thought was rather exuberant or zealous of this officer, because I was heading into town on the path. I would have been getting onto Netherwood in another 30, 40 feet, where he could have rolled down his window and tried to talk to me instead of the dramatics of turning on your lights and everything else. I don't follow why that was necessary. And I don't understand what the problem was. What was I doing wrong? I was trying to exercise before work. Ordinance should improve public safety, not inadvertently reduce it. I hope city officials will reconsider whether the overnight closure of the bicycle path truly serves the public interest. If the park path is safe enough for law enforcement access, it should be available to responsible cyclists, runners, walkers during the early morning hours. Another issue about early morning hours is August, is a very hot and humid month. I'd rather exercise in the morning when it's much more comfortable than do so in the afternoons when I come up and you might be approaching 100 degrees at times. It should be available, like I said, for responsible cyclists, runners, and walkers. Encouraging people to use a designated bicycle path rather than require them to ride on the road would better support the city's commitment to safety. And if that sounds familiar, I wrote that as a letter to the editor of the Oregon Observer, and it was published last week.
Okay, excellent. Does anybody in the park board have any questions for Dan?
Just a question.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, I'm
How can I
Matt.
help you?
Dan, thanks for coming. I totally get where you're coming from. Question, is there actually an ordinance? Do you guys know? For just Lerner Park, or is it all the parks?
It's all the parks.
Okay, that's really what I wanted to know. I totally get where you're, because riding on that street is not great, particularly, you said 3:30 in the morning? Or somewhere.
Okay. Respectfully, may I request to add something?
Oh, yeah, please.
I don't know if it's really apropos or
Yes,
not,
sir.
or if you even care.
Yeah.
But I'm signed up. Have you ever heard of CSA, Community Supported Agriculture? I am on a charity ride, 60 miles, on September 20th. And I'm trying to build up my endurance for that ride.
Sure.
God help me, I'm gonna be hurting. But
I'm
I
gonna
did
be hurting
55
for you.
I did 55 last year, I'm gonna do 60 this year.
Wow.
But what I like is that circular path, so I can just do more laps. And then in a safe area and build up to greater distances by just doing more laps. This sounds kind of funny, but I have a pocket full of stones, little pebbles in my hand. If I wanna do 10 laps, I put 10 stones in my pocket, and each time I fill a lap, I just throw it in the grass.
Right.
But that makes it much easier for me to build up my endurance. And I feel much safer than trying to find a 10-mile loop where, by the way, I was hit by the Oregon Correctional Facility approximately 8 to 10 years ago.
Gotcha. No, thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Makes a lot of sense, and so I think we'll take that up and look at some direction. We'll bring it into our new business section and to come up with a direction of what we can do with it. Makes a lot of sense to me as well, because that is a great time to be able to ride. But likewise, what the police department is enforcing the rules that we put into place, and so that's essentially what we just need to come up with an avenue that can be safe.
I did not get hurt or anything or any kind of contact, but I did see a skunk cross the path in front of me a couple weeks ago. I see coyotes, I see deer, I see fox, raccoons, rabbits.
Now we know why you're carrying the rocks.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm gonna throw a rock at a skunk. That'd be-
Excellent, Dan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate bringing that up, and we'll keep in connection.
What, I have maybe 2 more things.
Certainly.
Question number 1, timing, et cetera, of feedback. When you think I'll get an email back or some other feedback as to what direction this takes?
What we can do is we can put it on a new agenda item and come up with an ask, and that could be something that we could direct staff to get some things, information together. Likewise, we can get some information requests from the police department if they have any guidance in regards to it as well. So a couple of items like that, so we can get it by September. We'll be able to have it on the records as to what we did and have been on the agenda.
Second issue is kind of like when you have a broad-based thing, like nobody in the park after
Correct.
10, before 5 a.m.
Mhm.
My wife has had she had a knee replacement precisely a year to the day after I had mine. And she's using her e-bike as a therapy. And I know the town, Village of Oregon, and probably the parks are looking at e-bike use.
Right.
I would really hate to see her prevented from using her e-bike
Mhm.
on the Oregon bike paths.
Right.
She's 64 years old, I shouldn't say that. And she's very responsible, and there's a world of difference between some of these groups of kids running around and the speed and what she's doing on her e-bike.
Mhm.
So I could just recommend, let's not have just a broad, no e-bikes on the bike path.
I think that's a great thing to bring forward, because that is part of what the village is looking at, and some things in the biking side of it.
Any other questions?
Thank you for being here, Dan. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks for getting me in.
Yes, sir.
We do also have another a guest, Rich Strominger. I welcome you to come forward.
Mark, this is for that Rotary item. I think it's new business, so I don't know if you want to address it then or not. I know Lauren does need to leave a little bit early, so she was
Correct.
hoping to cover the CIP, not to push you off, Rich.
Okay.
Hopefully I think this will be a quick item.
Yeah, you want me to stay here? Are you gonna review it first, or do you want me?
That's up to Mark. This is later on the agenda.
Okay.
Rich is coming up later on the
So-
agenda. So
Okay,
do
so
you
you want
want
to go to the CIP first?
Yes.
Are you
please.
okay to wait a little bit, Rich? So we
Yeah,
can bring it up and
yeah,
you,
I'll
are you, well, thank you for,
Thanks.
and we'll bring
Yes.
that up and we'll have the public. All right, thank you. I'll turn it over to you, Lauren, for the CIP discussion.
Well, I will try to keep it very brief so that I'm not holding folks up. As stated in the memo, there is not a ton that changed this year in I would say, the period between when you saw the draft CIP back in May and then what we have today. The big thing that did change on the park side, aside from those items that were previously raised, is I would say rearrangement of the conservation parks projects from more of a broad task type organizational structure, meaning phase 1, restoration, phase 2, paths, phase 3, paths, part 2, phase 4, bathrooms, into more of a regional kind of separation. And this was something that was recommended by a consultant as a way to make this less of a concept and more of actual concrete projects that could get done efficiently and that would have measurable benefits for residents. So that's honestly, surprisingly to us, the cost didn't change tremendously across those conservation parks projects. It's simply kind of where the focus is for each one of those phases that did. So with that said, I'm happy to answer any questions. We're looking for any kind of feedback you guys may have. As you guys know, there are going to be a couple more meetings where the CIP is going to be discussed at a board level. There may be one more meeting of this board before it does get adopted. I believe it's September 21st that we're targeting. But this is a great chance if you've got something big that you, as a board, would like considered. This is a chance to kind of get one more crack at it before we can bring it back in September if folks want to see it again.
Comments from the park board? Matt?
Just real quick, and great memo on, particularly on Kaiser Park. It makes a ton of sense with all the various moving parts around there.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to suggest, it's two things. I'm probably going to move. So I know you're up next, Elise, too, with the transportation study, but there's a theme here. So with all the redoing of downtown, Old Village Hall, all that, as you mentioned in your memo, right? And some various other things. I think it might be smarter to push Kaiser to the right, to 28, because we're not even close to a decision from the village board and planning commission on Old Village Hall, unless I'm mistaken. We did the one meeting, Elise, and
Yeah, wait, I'm gonna be bringing back kind of a draft RFP in the fall, but it's gonna take a while
that's
until
what
we
I
get
mean.
the project and,
yeah.
yeah, I mean,
When I say we're not close, I mean like there hasn't been a decision made. So I feel like for planning purposes, it would make more sense for the Kaiser stuff to be pushed to the right once that decision's made, because that could open up more space. It could be used for any number of things that'll change the calculus, I think. And same thing, just moving quick so I can be quiet. I know we're short on time. The Park Street connector, I know you're going to talk about that, Elise, but we've got the transportation study going too. So it feels like maybe we get that done. Let's study first and then slip to the right on.
that's a section of, where the dog park is over kind of by the
Yeah.
ice rink, yep, and then the
Sienna Meadows over to that area.
Sienna Crest,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's a TID funded project we've had
Okay.
in the plan for a while, kind of a missing link, I would say, in kind of our trail system over there.
And I can, just quick to add some context on that one, because I know that one's confusing and I apologize. As we were starting to put all of our stuff together, one of the roads that kept coming up for reconstruction was actually Park Street itself, between Oak Street and Janesville Street. I should know this by now, but sadly, takes me a minute. Since we were looking at putting that in the early 2030s after phase 2 of the wastewater treatment plant project, so that we're not rebuilding a road and having big trucks come right over it, we thought it made a lot of sense to actually put that path into that project. So we were kind of doing one big project. So right now, that is actually not called out anymore, or should not be called out anymore as a separate project.
I see.
It's going to be going, or it's proposed to move with that 2031 street project.
Yeah, I got you. Whatever you think there. I mean, I guess the bigger thematic is like, we've got some uncertainty on some things, and then let's not get ahead of that. It's kind of, I'm thinking about the overall CIP as well, right? Like, it's like, okay, we're going to study something, but we don't have money in the out years. Why are we studying it, right? Like, so just a suggestion. I think that would, particularly for Kaiser, make a lot of sense, right? Like, just like, okay, who knows what's going to happen? There might be more like, who knows, right? Sort of thing. Oh, and then final thing, I just wanted to note, the access keys. I didn't look at the numbers. I didn't look at the timing. I would support, frankly, doing that as soon as possible, just getting that done. And just to save everybody time and more security. It just seems like a smart thing to do.
Yep, and that's scheduled for next year right now. So, and that
For
was
27 or?
for 27, yes.
Okay,
And that's a police department request as well, so it's
Okay.
kind of cross-departmental.
that's it.
Other comments? I think when you look at the uses of the spaces themselves, makes a lot of sense that Kaiser gets a lot of attention. As we're going to develop and have the senior center getting into place, that will be more of a core activity that's going to take place. So I do think that makes a lot of sense overall. There are some that we had somebody talk about, the Scott Park, and I was a little disappointed that we're going to push that out a little bit further. But again, it's the use, how that comes into place. I like breaking down the West Parks and really identifying those areas. As we had from the project, student gained a lot of ideas from what that is, and that really helped out a bunch. But breaking it down in different areas does seem to make a lot of sense to me itself. I do. There's a little. I do believe that we are in a situation that the life of the pickleball courts is not what it could have been for that size of it and for that project. I think it's a little disappointing in what the village has and what we have put together, and so I see that's pushed out a couple of years, and that could be a little bit of a concern. I would like to see the contractor deliver a little better than what they did, because I do think that as it was raised out to me and I started looking at the courts are not in great shape for the age that they really are. So I had some concerns about how that comes out when it goes out a little bit further. What was the other ones? I had a couple of the ones I missed my notes. The playground surface maintenance, that's is that from the projects that are actually done, completed? There's a $25,000 in 2027. Is that to repair those surfaces?
Yes, so that's actually, it's a reduction and it's a standing item we've had for the last, I think, year or so. That's something that we hope we don't spend any of that money ever in any years. So, but because we haven't had this solid surfacing in place for very long, we want to have the money there in case we need it, in case there is an issue. We have had some out at Highlands that have all been covered by warranty thus far, and fingers crossed, it looks like JC is holding well and that the repairs at Highlands are holding pretty well, but there are a lot of soccer cleats at both of them, particularly out at Highlands, so it's kind of a rainy day fund for those surfaces. Again, we try not to touch it or reallocate it if we don't use it. We hope it just kind of sits in a bank until we might need it.
Okay. I know it has been questioned about what to do with the skate park, and so the skate park has been an awareness as well, and so that would be part of that planning that would take in place. What should we do with that, and how do we go about that, and what kind of feedback? So positive about having that brought up forward as well. I think those are my thoughts that I had overall.
Can I interject on that? You raised a couple of good points, Mark, I think. And so I noticed the skate park and then tennis courts. So do we have any sort of, I wrote usage study. I doubt we have a usage study, right? But like the amount of use that those are getting as we look at the future, right? Like, is it a tear down? Is it just a rebuild, or like, I think that's an open question.
Correct.
And I would suggest maybe for pickleball too. With the new senior center, they're putting pickleball courts in. So do we keep the outdoor? And that could very well be true. I don't know if there's an outdoor desire for those. So a lot of questions that I don't really know the answer to. But as we look at it, it's like, do we need all of it, or do we want to reduce something, or I don't know.
And that's part of the idea of the study. Let's understand it.
Yeah, like who's skating anymore? I don't know. Maybe 100 people.
I have had some comments from some because of the condition, but we also heard from staff that it's a concern as well, because it's kind of gone through its useful life, as was pointed out from staff. So good points. Other comments? Don't hear anything further from that, Lauren, so hopefully you can take a little bit of that feedback.
Yes, so just in full transparency, Elise and I have been chatting because we're not totally sure what the mechanics of recommendations of motions from an advisory committee to the board and to staff look like.
Okay.
So
figure it out and could let me know too.
100%. Actually, that is our plan. We are going to go to Martin, who knows all of these things. I have a great list of everything that you guys have put in. And then we will bring that back in September. So we will not forget about it, but we'll bring it back in September. And at that point, hopefully have guidance on like what the actual next steps are and, you know, whether this board makes motions to us to then change and pass on. We just want to make sure we're doing it right so that your guys' feedback gets where it has to go. So,
And I encourage everybody in the park board to take a close look at it and make sure they understand what those phases and steps are, because there are some things that should have drifted around, but take a closer look at that so that we can give the staff the right kind of feedback to take to the village board.
perfect.
Awesome, so no action will be taking place at this point, but the feedback we have provided. Awesome, very good.
Thank
Through
you
that.
so much, guys.
Okay, we're gonna move, let's see here, go back to the village staff and the director of public reports. You gonna do that, Elise?
Yep, yeah. I don't think, I can give an update just on a couple of project
Okay.
things. I know Gary Dish Park is making a lot of progress. I think the playground just got installed.
Yes,
I
it
haven't been
is.
down there in a little
It's not
while.
complete, but it's mostly,
Yes, and then that's kind of the big parks project right now. Bethel Green Acre Master Plan did get approved with no changes to the budget from the village board last night. So just kind of some discussion about how that project would be funded. So we will be moving into design development. There will be some value engineering, just some things that we feel like we don't need. We can tighten up that budget. So we'll be keeping you guys in the loop as that design moves forward throughout the fall, and then hope to be able to bid that project around the holidays. But otherwise, intersection project, as far as I know, supposed to be done by the time school starts. We had a call
Doesn't
about
look
it
like
today
it.
that I wasn't in there, but I know I did see a cement truck there yesterday. So the right kind of trucks are starting to show up, but that's all I know. And do you want me to move into my report for just the bike and pedestrian study?
yeah, why don't we do that?
Okay, this will be pretty quick too, but this was a handout that we shared at the National Night Out. So it's kind of a half pager here, but we're working with MSA Professional Consultant or Professional Services. They're a kind of a planning engineering firm out of Madison to do our bike and ped study. They've been really great to work with. We now have a page on our website that has all this information, and we'll soon have some online engagement tools, mapping exercise and things on the website. We have our kickoff call tomorrow to kind of preview all of that. But they also will be at the Sounds of Summer concert series, which will hopefully not get rained out. We'll have beautiful weather next Tuesday. And then also at the middle school, we just kind of got that finalized with the school district today. So they'll be at the middle school Ready, Set, Go conferences. We figured that would be a good spot to get feedback. It has a safe routes to school component, so how are kids getting to school for walking and biking. But the middle school obviously is everybody in the whole district coming together, and those older kids probably getting to school a little bit more independently than the younger ones. So that'll be good. And then we'll have probably some other pop-up events. There'll be some Sounds of Summer concerts becoming Sounds of Fall, or whatever Leanne calls it, in September. So we might be doing some of the engagement ourselves just to save some funds and not have the consultants at every event. And then there's a community open house. I wanted to make sure you guys save the date. It's Wednesday, September 16th at the library in the community room from 6 to 8 p.m. So that'll be kind of an overview. What is this plan? What's its purpose? And then lots of different engagement activities for folks on, maps and dots, and what are spots that feel safe, unsafe, what are gaps and links in the system that are needed. So that'll kind of be the big public kickoff for the plan, and then we'll kind of move into more focus groups. So talking to, active seniors that are active in walking, or local biking groups, folks at the school district, things like that too. So that's kind of all the majority of the kind of public input is at this front end of things, and then the data collection, other things that are happening at the same time. So we'll keep you posted on how that goes, but you all are welcome to attend that open house, and hopefully you'll see them/us around at some of these events coming up.
You
Any
know what time
questions
that
for
is?
Elise?
Because don't we have our park board meeting that night?
It's a Wednesday.
Oh, okay. So you said the 16th?
16th, yeah, the September, park board meeting will be the 15th. So it would be the night after park board.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another one we have to move to the third Tuesday of the month, so thanks for your flexibility, there's a lot going on right now. So.
Questions for Elise? Has anybody seen any of these presentations before? Any events? Nope. Okay. Make sure to check them out. I like to find out a little bit more. I have not been on the website myself either. Awesome. Thank you, Elise. Appreciate that. Move on to recreational programming. Wait, Rich, you wanted to talk about the bike? Okay.
Oh, I think Leanne did you want to just share about
Oh,
event
sure.
schedule changes?
Sure. So with the weather not cooperating and some scheduling hiccups, Sounds of Summer will be going into Sounds of Fall. So we will have Universal Sound kicking us off on September 15th, and then the cartoons September 22nd, and then All That Jazz Combo September 29th. So mark your calendars. We're excited. It'll be nice to not roast at one of those.
Oh, definitely. Any other questions for Elise? So how are we doing on the website in terms of the postings? You know, one of the things we had talked about was how registration on the website and making things available from that.
Sure. So a lot of it is kind of held up because we don't accept credit cards online quite yet. But there is a lot being added as far as printing it up so that there's better pictures on there. All the amenities are detailed. So that's helped quite a bit. But unfortunately, as it remains, you have to go through me to book a shelter or an athletic facility.
Okay.
Yeah. But it definitely looks a lot better. I will say that.
Excellent. Good. Appreciate you bringing that up. All right. Let's see. So we went through 6, and so we are on to 7. So we'll get into the new business. So this is about the proposed Rotary Club Lerner Park bench and bike rack. Rich, thank you for being patient, jumping me around. The numbers are not following any sequence.
My name is Rich Strominger, and I'm representing Oregon Rotary Club. So I think in your package you should have kind of our proposal. It was a copy of the grant proposal that we sent to our district Rotary office, and they are providing some of the funds for this project. So anyway, I guess basically what we are proposing to do is it's like a 2-part. Well, it's one grant or one project, but we're splitting it into 2 different parks: Lerner Park and then the Rotary Bike Trail. So at Lerner Park, at the entrance, we'd like to add a metal bench and a 6 bike rack, and we'd like to add those to the entrance there, kind of near the split rail fence. If you're kind of familiar with what that looks like, but so yeah, what she's bringing up on the screen there, that is a metal bench. It's a steel bench, commercial grade, very durable, and it's made at Graber in Wanakee, so it's local. And we are planning to pour concrete pads for it to sit on, to be secure down with. Okay. The color that we've selected for that is Patriot Blue. We selected that mainly because of it kind of matches up with some of the signs that have been going up in Oregon. So it doesn't have to be blue, but if you have a different idea for that, be open to that. So there's that. So the bench is blue. There's 2 of them. One was again, like I said, at the entrance. The other one we're going to locate further into the park. There's some shade trees along one end of it, side of it, as you get further in. So we'd like to place one of them kind of underneath a shade tree. Okay. And again, at Lerner Park, we got the a bike rack. Again, that would be the same color, the Patriot Blue. We'll pour a pad for that, and again, that would be at the entrance, just off of what's that street?
Burrow.
Burrow,
Okay.
yep.
Okay. So so, you know, currently there is no bike rack there at all, so, so I think it would be a nice addition. And then, so that's Lerner Park, and then, so then moving on to the Oregon, or the Rotary, Oregon, or the Rotary Bike Trail, we'd like to install these little message boards that are showing up on the screen there. We'd have two of them. One we'd place at the end of Cusick Parkway, and the other one at the other end of the current trail, which is on Fish Hatchery Road. So those would just be a simple message board that we would put in there, put up. Our plan would be to put in messages about, events that maybe Oregon Rotary is working on. Again, it's a little kind of promote Oregon Rotary, as well as the Rotary Bike Trail. I understand there is a new group forming for the Friends of Rotary Bike Trail, and so there can be information on both of those organizations within that. It can be updates on kind of maybe what's happening as they, are working towards acquiring more land to expand the bike trail itself. So there can be updates on that. So, and then that was, I see a brown picture, cedar picture is the color of that one. We were proposing green. Yeah, there's another green color there. So, so I think that is, and then so it'll all be done by, Rotarians will be responsible for all the funds. We're not asking money from the village at all. So there's, so we have that we provide all the money and the labor to install these. And the project would probably take, I don't know, depending on when we get final approval from our grant, 8 to 12 weeks is when lead time for these products to get here. That kind of puts us into winter time, so we may, depending on weather, we may do some, we might get the pads in or something and then put the actual benches in at a later time. Okay. So, but certainly before, it would be either late winter or in early winter or in springtime, depending on the weather. So,
Comments from the park board? Andy?
Hey, Rich, thanks for coming.
Yeah.
So the message boards is going to be that single pole, the small one that's in the
it's
picture?
the 20, yeah, it's,
I mean, I'm just seeing the ones below it. I just want to make sure it's the smaller one that's
The MC1,
shown.
MC1P.
it's the MC1P.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
No, I like that idea. This my question on benches and bike racks is going to be directed at staff. Does the village have a standard of what type of benches or bike racks need to be installed in parks? Because I know the county does, and you can either have a wood Leopold bench or one that costs a lot of money.
We don't have a specific standard. We used a couple different ones in our recent park projects.
Okay. Then that takes my worries away. So, good.
Comments?
So can
Judy.
that one if that one's wood, would that be too expensive?
It's
to
actually a
do the-
composite material.
Okay,
Yeah,
It
those
does
are
state on
pretty
here
durable.
recycled
Yeah.
plastic colors, so it's recycled.
Yeah, it's twice the two colors, the green or the
Okay.
cedar.
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't want it to rot right away. Because you're right out, I mean, for the one on the other end, you're right in the weather.
Very true.
Any bench on that side? Do they have any benches over there?
We have some picnic tables along the Rotary Trail, quite a few places. Yep.
Okay. You know how many times I get out there?
Well, we discussed it, probably because it'd be a great future project to add.
One of the greatest challenge with Lerner is that you just don't know what's there. And Rotary's done an awesome job cleaning it up, doing the fire cleaning and making it clear. I think a bench would be really adding a lot to it to point out because it still becomes not as visible, but there's a nice sign, the rocks that's there, that other things are making it add a lot. So I think the bench is awesome. We do see those benches in multiple places within the community, pickleball, as well as down at Triangle Park. So they are very durable, and I think it lines up with that well. I do like something standing out because as those plants grow, if you try to do a black, it'll end up growing over. So I like the blue. I think that would be awesome. Any kind of information like on the Rotary Trail, I think that would be great to be able to have out there. I'm not sure how much it gets used, but do get a little video occasionally when Frank ends up riding his bike and telling some stories. Did some interesting things, but so I think those are awesome. So thank you very much for uncovering these opportunities. Yes.
Did you ever want to put, you know, like a lot of the benches have memorials? Did you want to put the Oregon Rotary on that?
Well, the benches I've seen, like with a plaque, and I know sometimes they have
My daughter is.
I've seen the one for your daughter, and that's
Okay.
all, you know, it's all nicely
And
inscribed
they
into the
didn't
bench
charge
itself.
me anymore for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think if you know, if you want to put Oregon Rotary or Oregon Area Rotary, I think that would be nice, because then it would contrast with the path.
Good point.
I mean, you can check it out and see if it, because it didn't cost me anymore to put her name on.
Okay, yeah, and I think, I don't know what the company was that you used for that. I have a feeling
Gary
it
did
wasn't,
help me, so I'm not sure.
yeah, I have a feeling it wasn't this one, but, so yeah, it'd be something worth, if I had that information, it'd be something I could discuss.
I can get it for you. I have the sheets and everything for it.
Okay.
Any other comments for Rich?
Can we get a motion just to recommend to the board to install here?
Matt, you have a motion?
That's
We have a
send it to the
second?
board.
Judy got a second? Any other discussion for him?
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We appreciate your work.
All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved. Rich, thank you very much.
Thank you
Appreciate
all.
that.
That's
Appreciate it.
wonderful. Thanks, Rich.
Nice seeing you.
Matt and Judy?
Yeah, Judy seconded. Yeah.
Okay, we're still on the sequence. So that was our new business. If there's any particular action that the board should take in regards to what Dan had talked about, biking in the parks themselves, any suggestions of what we might be able to do to support his concern? Judy?
Well, I was thinking, you know, I guess I've been on the board forever, so I can remember when it went on, because we had the kids in the park. So we made, because they were drinking in the park and stuff like that. So that's when it came out that you gotta be out of there at 10 o'clock. It just helped the police officers say, okay, you're out. You know, we got the law, you're out. So they did away with that. But, you know, being that somebody can go and sign in on your site and say that they want to use it, I mean, I don't want to bog down the village for doing permits and stuff. But, you know, like he was talking about his wife when the bicycles, and we just had the police pick up one of the kids in Bergamot Park, so with their e-bike. So, and it's sad that one person ruins it for everybody else. So I see what she's saying too. But is there any way that they could just go in and sign in on your website that?
I don't know that we have that set up right now. One thing Lauren suggested to me before she had to run was just, I think it would be helpful to talk to the police department about how they're enforcing this and also what ideas they have, because I think, yeah, there are folks and activities we probably don't want happening in the middle of the night at the parks, but I think there are plenty of people who are responsible users, and is there a way we can kind of find a happy
And we
medium?
got quite a few new police officers too. They're all wonderful.
Yeah.
But it's just the idea
Right,
that.
they're just doing their job, they're not
They
trying to,
are.
yeah.
They are. And that's what we
Putting
may
them over.
need, is just, you know, to say, kind of turn your eye when you see an older guy just going down the road, you know? But, I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe specifying.
I do have a thought. Yeah, I feel for the gentleman that
I do
came.
too.
You know what I mean? Like, I really do. I'm just wondering, and I get what the police officer is doing, and I actually recently got an explanation on that. So I think it's worth a conversation with Chief and crew over there for sure. In the meantime, he's got a race coming up on September 9th, I think he said, right? So all of our dithering is not going to do him a lot of good.
Correct,
I'm wondering if we
unfortunately.
suggest that he just calls the non-emergency line at the PD, say, hey, look, I'm going to go on a bike ride, you know, or whatever, you know, just give him a heads up sort of thing. Frankly, I'm saying that before the chief, we've ever talked to her, right? Like, maybe she didn't want that, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
that time in the morning, you get 911.
Well, yeah, see, I don't know that either, like.
I do,
Like,
so.
so just maybe a heads up, but on the other side, there wasn't any harm caused necessarily, you know, so maybe it's just like a heads up to chief and be like, hey, can you tell the guys, like, you know, if,
Pick your battles.
that's what I mean,
Yeah.
That's not an official answer, but yeah, it might help him be able to train and all that.
Well, as we get into more biking and other kind of e-bikes and such, I do think we should help with some clarification. And I do believe that the police department can give some guidance, because what's the other side of it is also to make sure that it's enforceable. Because we don't want to put something in place that the police department's going to have a hard time
Yeah.
enforcing. The other side I hear is that it is a commuting or it's a athletic activity, and it's not stationary. It's not like what some of the reasons came up. We're not hanging around and doing anything else. They're moving.
Right.
And so if you have proper lighting and you have proper protection, which kind of falls into the same thing with e-bikes and dusk hours and such, is there something that could potentially be put together in that and saying is like if you properly lit with a headlight and a brake light, something that makes it visible, that it can allow that going through at limited speeds and something else. Maybe there is something that we start looking at that a little bit further, because as he had ridden up and he asked, "Where's the village? Where's the village boardroom?" I pointed that out, and it's not dark out. He had a flashing light on his helmet. He's in bright green. I still thinking about all of this. I distinctly remember when one individual was killed on the road, on Lincoln Road, at 4:30 in the morning, and that wasn't really related to the bikeist as much as it was the driver. But I think there are some things that we could look at doing something that could be enforceable by the police department, but also allow individuals like him.
But you look on the police department's side, I mean, he could have robbed someplace and then taken off on the bike. I mean, he was illuminated, but again, and so by him not picking that guy up and letting him get away, so there's all kinds of things that the policeman's thinking of too.
Yeah.
So, I guess, I'm leaning toward, I don't know what I'm, right down the middle, I guess.
I have a question. Since this wasn't on the agenda, should we really be having this
It's for a
discussion?
new idea.
No, I know for ideas, so I mean, we shouldn't really be in-depth conversation about it. I agree that we should be talking about this, get it on the agenda for September.
Mhm.
We just want to get him back on the road.
No,
Yeah, we're not
I
gonna-
understand
we
that
can
as
act on
well,
it.
but there's nothing that we can enforce
Yeah.
right now. And
Okay.
then
Yeah.
my other comment, e-bikes versus e-motos would be a different discussion. It's not
Correct.
really something for the park board. It's more for the police, but
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see something more about that, because if you say e-bike, that's not a fair assessment of everything that's happening, because there's a difference between those.
So it is something to bring up and for.
I'm sorry, I need to run to a meeting at the town
Bye.
hall for a different project. But yeah, I would maybe suggest, just because, yeah, this isn't on the agenda for discussion, maybe for the September meeting, just an update on, park hours and biking in the parks or something like that. And then, Mark, were you in contact with him separately? Did he reach out to you about
Yes.
wanting to speak? So maybe, would you mind forwarding that email to Chief Jenny? You can copy Lauren and I if you want, but just,
I did actually send an email to Chief
Okay.
Bigenough, and I got a response. And
Okay.
essentially, she was saying that they're enforcing the rules that we put into place.
okay,
But she would be worthy to.
okay. Maybe you could let her know about his, you know.
He's actually been in touch with them
Okay,
too.
okay, great. All right.
Eric was
Sounds good.
involved in the emails that I had received from him
Yeah,
as well.
but yeah, in the meantime, Laura and I can speak a little bit more with Chief about some
Okay.
ideas they might have, and then try to bring those back to discuss in September. If you
Okay.
guys want to add that to the
We'll
agenda.
plan on that. Very good. So item 8, future items. Items for the future meeting and any assignments. Does anybody have any things that they would like to bring up?
Do we need to do a motion for what we just talked about for
No.
next time? No. Okay.
Regards to,
Just to get it on the agenda. and
Yeah,
talk
like the
about-
park
I don't
hours
think we
and.
need to take a
Okay.
motion. I would just-
No.
Okay, fair enough.
I would like to make a comment in that I used one of the parks, reserved one of the parks for a faith-based organization, and it was a beautiful night. We did request some picnic tables as well, and staff was wonderful to be able to bring the picnic tables forward. Beautiful evening. We used the Triangle Waterman Park. It worked out excellent, and even though we didn't have the police department, the fire department pass by. We didn't have loud vehicles or everything else. It was a beautiful night. Facilities were wonderful. So appreciate the staff helping out with that. We do have a lot of great parks. I had another event that was also taking place in the JC Pavilion, and that was also a great event that we were we did get to hear pickleball most of the night, but because the shelter's been improved and had power on it, it allowed us to be able to utilize. And then we also got to see all the soccer that was out taking place, so it's great to see all those activities. So that's a little bit of I think the awareness, because even the question came up to me, is like, can we reserve these parks? Like, absolutely. So we have some great parks. We should be able to be proud about that and allow people to use them. So just wanted to share that. So our next meeting would be September 15th. So this is the third Tuesday of the month. And then the other one's October 13th. Those dates look okay from you, from today's perspective? Okay, now call for an adjournment.
I move.
Second, Judy? Okay, any other comments? All in favor, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. So moved. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks.